Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of Redseer's Founders Interview Series. Today, we have with us Vaibhav Singh, co founder of Leap Finance. Leap Finance is a startup that offers end to end solutions for Indian students who are looking to pursue education in overseas universities. The company has recently secured a Series C funding of $55 million. Hi, Vaibhav. Welcome to the Redseer podcast.
Hey Dipti, thank you for having me.
Great, our pleasure. And please accept our congratulations for securing a great funding.
Thank you, Dipti.
Great. And me and my audience are also willing to know more about Leap Finance, your story and journey. So over to you, Weber.
Yeah, for sure. Really, Dipti, education is something which has always been quite close to my heart. I would go far as saying really the limited successes I have enjoyed in my professional career have been on the back of a quality education, and therefore I've always been passionate about opening up more and more opportunities for young students to really truly achieve their full potential by getting access to high quality education. Now, the study abroad segment, in particular, specifically the segment which we serve at Leap, is again a segment which both Arnav and Arnav's my co-founder at Leap, as you mentioned. We both go back 15 plus years. We both went to IIT Kharagpur, and so we've sort of seen many of our friends actually go through this entire journey, right? Like as you imagine, I think maybe 60-70% of my batch is probably walked down this path where they went abroad, got a degree from a top global school, and really doing fantastically well in their lives now. So we sort of going back almost 15 years for me. I knew a number of for my friends from campus who sort of walked this path, uh, heard their accounts of all the challenges they faced in sort of the move abroad. So broadly, this was if I could say, a segment and a problem which I was always aware of. Having said that, really, what got me truly closer to sort of both the opportunity as well as the challenges students face in moving abroad was really what I was doing in my last startup before Leap, and this Dipti was a lending fintech. It was a company called Incred, and we had a whole bunch of products, but one of the products was focused on providing student loans, and we exclusively focused on students going abroad for higher education. So that got me really close to this segment. I was only there for a couple of years, but during that time helped about say about 3,000 odd students in sort of moving abroad from a financing standpoint. And really that's when I started going, you obviously engage with your customers, and as I said, this is a segment, and this is just generally education is a world which I thoroughly enjoy getting to know better, to understand better. So I used to talk with all of the students who we used to help with financing, and I realized that as I spent more and more time and talked to more and more students, realized that of course, financing is a core pain point, and therefore it is one of our core offerings today at Leap as well. But by no means is it the only pain point a student faces as he or she moves abroad. This is clearly the most important decision the student's going to take in their lives. Dare I say, it's probably the most important decision the family is going to take in their lives. It's easily a 6, 9, 12-month journey from when a student first starts wanting to, first starts thinking about going abroad to him or her successfully being able to actually get to their sort of dream school. And this really wrong journey has multiple twists and turns to it. Requires students to cross multiple milestones. Most students, I realized, ended up taking products and services from easily 6-7 providers. So as you would appreciate, you go to someone for test prep, you go to someone for sort of counseling or admissions guidance. Loans is a beast in itself to solve, and then you've got to figure out international accommodation, insurance. How do you move money abroad? How do you open a bank account abroad? And all of that, right? And just realized that you know something needed to change here clearly. These really siloed experiences, many of these products and services being offered largely by sort of mom and pop setups, very analog in their experience. This is a 20 something year old who's born, brought up in the digital age, really. And for them to be taking one of their most important decisions in their lives, in through very analog providers, just felt that you know a lot could be done here. A lot could be done in terms of really becoming true partners of students in their journey abroad. And yeah, that as I said, the problem, I think, as it happens with most founders, I would like to believe, the problem kept growing on me as I in my last startup financed more and more students. And I said, hey, this needed to change. This is something which I wanted to now give the next many years of my life to solve. And really, that's what got Arnav and I together. Arnav separately was exploring ideas in the education space. And yeah, as I said, we go back 15 plus years. We got talking, and yeah, 2.5 years ago, we decided that this is a problem we would take help, sort of head on, and
Yeah.
really solve for needs of every aspirant wanting to study abroad.
Great, 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 Vaibhav. I think it's you have really picked the pain point of students, and at those early ages, it's really required for someone to handhold them so as to make the right decision, and the whole future of their life is based will be based on that. So great, great, Vaibhav, on that. As I understood, like you started it in 2019, right? And just I think right after you started, COVID is has come over and taken almost completely 2 years of this period. So how have you seen the segment growing, from the time you started and now?
Yeah, so obviously, Dipti, COVID was, I would say, COVID was a curse to mankind, and it affected many businesses. If we are clearly a cross-border business, and borders were, obviously shut for the longest period of time. But really, you know, if you have to pick a crisis, you pick one. As quickly or as early in your journey as possible. And so now, in hindsight, when I look back, in some ways, in many ways, actually, I would say it really helped us in get to where we are. So one is obviously, Dipti, as I mentioned, we are a full stack solution for everything study abroad. So we've
Right.
got multiple products on our platform. From we run the largest study abroad community globally with 1 million plus students. We've got a test prep business where we are already India's number one online provider for test prep for English proficiency exams which students need to take in moving abroad. We've got a full stack admissions counseling business. We've got a loans product, and we offer accommodation. We help students get accommodation, open bank accounts, move money abroad, all of that, right? So we are very, very, very multi-product, and the sort of the the lull in students moving abroad due to COVID in 2020 really allowed us to deeply invest in all of these products to fully build them out to sort of an experience which we really wanted to give to students. And what that has really meant is that as borders have opened up this year in 2021, we've seen phenomenal growth. We've seen growth well beyond our most optimistic expectations. Earlier this year in January, we felt this would be a very strong year given there was so much pent up demand from last year, right? Like almost 5 lakh Indian students go abroad every year,
Right.
and official numbers are not out for last year, but I know that number probably dropped by like 90% last year.
Hmm.
And so there was all that demand from last year. By natural flow, there was new incoming demand for 2021 as well. And so really 2021 will be a year where the entire study abroad industry, I can tell you, will hit a new high. And for us, as a fully online platform, for us as a business which is, has had the time to build out all the components of our full stack solution, it it played beautifully into sort of our ambition. And that's where, in many ways you could say this is our first true year of operations. And in our very first year, we're proud that we were able to help more than 60,000 students
Oh,
this
great.
fall as they moved abroad.
Great, great. Oh, that sounds good. Great, Vaibhav. Right. And actually, our research also shows that Indian students studying abroad, that segment is expected to reach around 1.8 million by 2024. So there's a lot of scope of, growth in this segment, like from the demand per se. Great.
No, absolutely, absolutely. I think this is very, uh, I used to say this often last year when I used to get asked this question. I used to say, "Hey,
Mm,
COVID's not going to change the dreams and the ambition of a 20-year-old, right? If
right.
they want to go abroad to, really make a transformational shift in their careers, they'll do so when, as and when borders open. And this year has shown that. And I think this is a multi-decade story, Dipti, which is just getting started. As
Right.
more and more sort of, as as the middle class in the country, in the region, I would say,
Mm,
becomes stronger. There are more and more people move sort of up the socio-economic pyramid. It's all but natural that they would want their kids to have sort of, the best education possible, a global education, aside from just the pedagogy.
mm,
Just
mm.
makes you so much more as a holistic, rounded individual in today's truly global world. And therefore, we fundamentally believe that this is, we're just getting started in the story.
Great, great. Great, Vaibhav. And as I understand, like it's a very basic knowledge among students that pursuing international studies involves a lot of planning and know-how. And the market, as you see, is quite fragmented. There are multiple players for solving different problems. So, do you see this market? I mean, overall, around this category is evolving, and how do you see those changes coming in over the years? And also, would like to know that when this planning phase is going on with students, at what stage should they touch base with Leap to make the maximum benefit?
Sure, sure. So that's two questions there.
Yeah.
I think in terms of my uh, view about, sort of truly transformative changes happening in sort of this segment, clearly one, Dipti, is the move online. Like, as you mentioned, this is a deeply fragmented industry, largely analog businesses, 95% plus of market share with analog businesses. And this was a trend which was happening inevitably. Like, every part of our lives is getting digitized, right? And education in particular, we've seen what has happened in the edtech space globally and particularly in India. Uh, so it was inevitable. Obviously, what COVID has done is sort of really hyper accelerated that move to online, right? Students now, for the last 18 months had no option but to really engage and take advice and formulate their study abroad plans through online interaction. And that, for a digital first platform like ours, obviously, has supported, has really supported our phenomenal growth. And I believe that's one trend which is here to stay. For example, I'll tell you one more anecdotal evidence. As you would know, in pre-COVID days, education fairs where
Right.
foreign universities coming and booking a hotel and making a big splash around it, and then trying to sort of obviously interact with students. COVID put an stop to all of that, right? That entire ecosystem effectively moved online. Virtual fairs were the norm, were the only possibility over the last 18 months. And now, so often when I speak to university reps, when they were doing it physically, you could do one fair a year, maybe two fairs a year if you're a large school. But now they have the option of being able to interact with students like literally every month if they chose, right? They need to take an hour out, come online, and students are there to listen to them.
Right.
So the shift to online is one big change here. I think we obviously believe that student success ultimately in this journey is is really when the student enrolls on campus, right? Like getting a great score in GRE and GMAT and any exam is good, but if you don't get an admit after that, well, did you really succeed? Probably not. Similarly, if you got an admit but unfortunately couldn't arrange the financing and couldn't move abroad, is it really success? Probably not, right? So we've taken very clearly we've sort of aligned our success very clearly with student success, which is really why we've taken this very sort of full stack vertically integrated approach. And given what we've seen this year and how strong the growth has been, I'd like to believe that has very strongly resonated with the student community. And I expect that to potentially, in some ways, us to be a category creator of creating full stack solutions in this entire segment. So uh, that's how I think the segment will evolve. People will see value in both online and fully integrated solutions, which are really aligned with their ultimate success, uh, sort of as strong movers in the market.
Correct.
Yeah. And sorry, your second part of your question was around when should they start. Well, candidly, Dipti, this is, as I've mentioned a couple of times already, this is such an important decision, right? You want to get it absolutely right, and therefore, really, investing in sort of acquiring all the right knowledge which can get you to the right decisions is should start fairly quickly, and which is really why I mentioned that the first point of engagement of students with Leap is our community. And that's a community where students who are starting to think about going abroad engage with other students sort of in similar shoes, maybe a little further down the journey, including some students who've actually already successfully moved abroad as well, who sort of want to give back to the community, right? So I think in terms of building conviction, in terms of building sort of, as I said, the information to come to the right decision, to make the right choices, I think that's easily something students should spend a lot of time, like easily 12, 18 months before they start, or before they're actually targeting to move abroad.
Great. Got it, Vaibhav. Yeah, I think you are right. It's such a important decision. It's good to start as early. And as you mentioned, the community part of the leap, I think that's a very great starting point for students to get aware of the sector and to see, what options do they have. So really nice. I think it was really good and interesting to understand the leaps offerings and of course your insights. So thanks, Vaibhav. Thanks a lot for joining us today and sharing your insights as well. Um,
Thank you, Dipti, for having me here. And it was a
yeah.
pleasure in talking to you.
Same here, Weber. We wish you all the very best. And once again, thanks from the Redseer family.